Yes, the Titan armies, we are out. We are out of the Euros, and we know that. But then we are not giving up. We are moving on, and we are moving on. And hopefully, Steve and the Glads will find us and take us to the World Cup. Welcome to the Nigerian Pride, coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland, from the stables of Diaspora Radio International. I am your anchor, Olu Shokumbi. Today, we will be talking or discussing topic around diversity, equality, and inclusion. How have we moved on this issue in Scotland? A lot is being talked about, government reports being submitted from the UK government to the Scottish government, different organizations coming up with their own submissions. But are we really doing enough? Today, I have my guest who is ready to go, and I will ask him, as I always do, ask my guests to introduce themselves. Hello, guest. How are you?
Hi, Olu. I'm very fine, thank you. And pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you just introduce yourself to all our listeners and viewers back at home, please?
Yes, sure. So my name is Enoch Adeyemi. I I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a chartered accountant. Um, I'm human. I just try to do things to make life easier for others essentially, and that's part of what drives most of what I do, the businesses I get into, and the ventures I start. It's about how do we make things better for others. So that's my passion. That's what I enjoy doing, and I can do that, um, you know, tirelessly. So hopefully that gives you a glimpse into who I am. With regards to my background, I grew up in Lagos, from Ogun State, and I left Nigeria back in 2003. So it's been a while now. That's about me.
All right. It's been a while. That's more than 2 decades.
Not really, almost.
Well,
You're testing my mathematics. Because I said I'm an accountant, so let me test his maths.
you, I love that. You caught me on that. Okay, let's kick it forward. So, you studied there. You selflessly try to do whatever you can do to help others. And if I may ask, was that what led you to start founding or establishing the Black Professional Scotland?
Absolutely, Olu. Some of the challenges I faced. So as I said in my intro there, I came to the UK back in 2003. I came here by myself. I didn't come with my parents or brothers or sisters. I came as a 17-year-old guy that just wants to make his way in life. And going through university, going on that journey by myself, finishing that, and then going on the master's journey all by myself without any guidance, and then try to transition as an immigrant from student life to working life was very tough back in the days. Things are getting easier now. There's a lot of schemes like Black Professional Scotland is one of those schemes that are making it easier for people like me, 15, 20 years ago. But there was no such thing back then. There was no open discussion around discrimination, around inequality. There was none. So it was just whatever was available then was the norm, and that was my experience back in 2007. And unfortunately for me as well, if we cast to mind back to 2007, that's when the world was falling apart. The financial markets were crashing across the world, and that was me coming out as a graduate of finance. So it was an interesting time to be a graduate, and to be an immigrant and to be in a country that was facing financial woes. But thankfully for me, since this is a Nigerian platform, I can say this, the Nigerian hustle of I didn't come here to play, really played in, and I just applied. And when I tell people my story, sometimes maybe people think I exaggerate. I did hundreds of applications. I just kept on applying and just thought, eventually one of these companies is going to say, yes, you can join us. And that was what happened eventually. One of the companies, took me on as on a graduate program, which for me as an accountant was a luxurious way to start my career. So they sponsored me through my qualifications, they paid for my classes, they paid my salary, they gave me everything I needed essentially to set me off on my career path. But getting there was very tough. It was challenging, and that stayed with me even though I was sorted essentially. Like I could have just not worried because I was already on the right path. I still felt maybe there was something I could do, considering I felt blessed. I felt, what can I do to make it easier for maybe those coming after me not to go through as much as I did. And that stayed with me since 2007. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what shape, what that would look like, until eventually in 2016, almost 9 years later, I decided to start a Black networking platform. So essentially, create a platform where Black folks can meet Black folks, and specifically professionals and students. So it wasn't just a place to come hang out and have suya and drinks. No, it was a place to organize an event, bring a speaker, a well-established speaker, maybe someone that has been successful in their career, a Black person. They share something, a topic that's relevant to the members or to the attendees. And in between that session, there'll be opportunity for people to network, to meet other people. So, for example, if you're a student studying accounting, you have an opportunity to meet someone like me or another accountant that has maybe been working for 10 years. And, that is really crucial. I didn't have that. And that was what I was trying to create, just for people not to go on their journey by themselves. You can go with, Scottish white people, but there are some challenges that you face that they won't face. They won't be able to support you through those challenges. But a Black person or an African like me or like you, can tell you, yeah, I've been through that. This is what you need to do to overcome it. And yeah, that was essentially what gave birth to Black Professional Scotland, or I should say to Edinburgh Black Professionals back then in 2016, although it has taken a different shape from that time,
Right.
between that time and now.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to actually say, well, what's the relationship between Edinburgh Black, because I've got
Sure.
touch on that. I was going to ask
Yes.
you that, well, what's the relationship with it, but you've just said it there.
Yeah. So yeah, we started as Edinburgh Professional Scotland, and when I kicked it off, then I just thought, I didn't know where it was going. I'm not one of these people that have got this big vision of, oh, this is where I want it to go in 10 years. No, I think my quality is, I'm a starter. When I have an idea, I start. I don't sit and strategize and plan and, put together. No, I just think, let's just start this thing and let's run it. And that's the way I handle my life as well. Work, personal life, my relationship. I just go for it. When I met my wife, we didn't do 10 years dating. I met her and I just thought, this is the person I'm going to marry. And, I just moved on with it. So that's just the way my brain operates. I don't spend much time thinking of big pictures and that. So I when we started then, it was Edinburgh Black Professionals. The events were physical. So these were the days before Zoom and Teams and the rest of them. So, hired an event. And because I was very passionate about it, and because I felt blessed, and because I felt I can give back based on where I was in life, I was happy, self-funding it. So, getting the hall, getting the food, the drinks and stuff, I was happy doing all that because somewhere in my mind, I figured at some point it will self-fund. It will stand on its own without me having to stand. I mean, to put to dip my hand in my pocket. And I can tell you we're way beyond that point now. But thankfully, we started it then as Edinburgh Professionals, and then when COVID happened and George Floyd happened and Black Lives Matter happened, that just changed everything. So we're very focused then on, let's just get people together, let's have an event, let people network and whatnot. And then when George Floyd happened and all the conversations that happened after that, we hosted an event as an organization on Zoom, our first Zoom event, and it was just amazing. We got, I think, 400 people sign up, 250 of them turned up. 100 of them were white, because when we put our event together, when you register, we gather some information from you. So we gathered information that, out of the 250 people on our call, 100 were white. And for the first time, it was good to get the view of the white Scottish folks, or white folks essentially. And some of the white folks that turned up were quite senior people because the event was well advertised on. I mean, it wasn't advertised. It was supposed to be an event for Black people to just come and talk about their experience. But Lou, you know me on LinkedIn, I'm very prolific. I post on LinkedIn, I talk on LinkedIn. So I think because I was sort of sharing the event, like, oh yeah, there's this event coming up, everybody just started signing up, white people, Asian people, Black people. So we had to change the scope of the event a bit to allow everybody to be able to participate, enjoy, and take something away from it. And it was amazing. It was open event. There was no structure. There was no speaker. It was, let's come, let's all talk about race. Let's talk about race the way you see it. If a white person, talk about race from your point of view. If a Black person, talk about it. It was amazing. I mean, people came and left the event thinking, oh, wow, I never thought of that. I didn't know that happened. And it really empowered a lot of people. And that was the beginning of the new phase of our journey as Black Professional Scotland, because from that event, our name began to grow. From that event, organizations began to know about us, and we were serving Edinburgh until that point, and that was when we thought, why are we just serving Edinburgh? Why are we not serving Glasgow, Aberdeen, Inverness, the other cities and towns in Scotland? And that was when we changed from Edinburgh Black Professionals to Black Professional Scotland, and then went beyond that to say, how can we support our people, our community? But then at the same time, we need to stop being inward looking, because up until that time, being inward looking, being, oh yeah, let's support our Black people. Let's Black people support Black people. So at that point, we thought we can only do so much. We don't have power, full stop. There's only so much support we can support ourselves. The real people that can help and support us and power us through this are the white allies. They're the ones that have the power, they've got the money, and they're the ones that call the shots. So that was when we started, and that was when partnership began to happen organically. Some of the things that came through that event was, we'd like to hire more Black people, but we don't know how to find Black people. So we thought, okay, we already have a base. We have some Black members in Edinburgh. Why don't we start growing that membership across Scotland? So, we re-engineered our website so people can actually register as members. So I think at the moment we've probably got about 500 or going up to 600 members, and we're expecting that number to touch 1,000 by the end of the year, and then that number to go into thousands in the future years. And what that number is then doing is, what that membership base is doing is acting as a Black talent pool for employers looking for Black talent. So, so if you're coming to us, that means you're looking for Black talents, and we have them. We don't have thousands of them yet, but they are growing, and we have them. So we have companies that are now using us as part of their recruitment strategy. So companies like, names that you probably are familiar with, Accenture, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, Aegon Asset Management, Police Scotland, Free Agents. So some quite big organizations have now partnered with us, and they're using our platform to reach the Black talents, which is a win-win. They win, they get the diversity they need. Our people from our community get the opportunities they want, and it's a journey. And so sometimes when I talk about what I do, I get the feedback of, oh yeah, that's only part of it. That's not really the issue. And I'm thinking, yeah, but it's a journey. We don't expect things to change overnight, and you don't expect Black Professional Scotland to solve all the problems. We are only solving what we can, given the resources we have. And we are hoping to grow to be able to solve more. So, we've between last year and this year, we brought in internship as part of what we're doing. That was just a trial program, like, let's try this program and see how it goes. And the plan was to get at least one internship position. But as I'm speaking to you now, we've got 10 internship positions, and some of them are with quite tangible organizations like Aegon Asset Management, like BBC. So we are placing our Black students and Black early careers people into these big organizations to get experience for 3 months, for 6 months, paid for. These were opportunities that were not there when I finished university back in 2007. And for me personally, it's joy. It's a lot of work what we do, but I get so much joy knowing that I am changing lives. And the organization I run, we are having real impact in real people's lives. We're changing people's stories. People that would have studied accounting and they maybe ended up doing something else. We're actually giving them the chance to go work as accountants by opening that door for them to get their first role in accounting. I know a lot of people that studied a certain course at university, and up till today, I'm talking back 10, 15 years, and up till today, they've not gotten the chance to, to practice in that role. So those are the things we're trying to stop. Like, if you studied engineering, you should be able, maybe not everyone, but if you want to work in engineering, we should be able to help you to get in there. and that's what we're trying to do. It's a journey. There'll be more. There's a lot of work for us to do. Some people may say what we're doing is petty. It doesn't change the bigger picture. But what I tell them is, go tell that to the person that we are helping to get internship, and tell them what we're doing doesn't change the bigger picture. I'm sure they will have a different response for you. I'll stop there. So I'll let you.
That's good. It's so interesting listening to all of this. All the things you do. Now, what that will one question I want to ask before I move on into the part of the equality and everything is that you've mentioned some organizations there like Essential Police Scotland and all this. Now, through all of this, how many of them have been able to successfully give employment opportunities to our people?
Okay, so that data, I don't have it, or like I can't give you an exact number to say, okay, since this company came to us. But what we are now looking to do is to start tracking our IT capability. It's not the best yet. We are we're not for profit organization. So the way we run, um, there are limits. Let me put it that way. So I can't give you a number, but I can give you number on internships. So for example, that is something that is within our gifting, because we are the ones getting the internship opportunities from the companies, and some of these companies are our partners, and then giving it to the community. And the way we work with the organizations with regards to the partnership and them using our talent pool is, they put the opportunity on our platform. And for an organization to put an opportunity on a platform, that means that organization is genuinely interested in getting diverse talents. They won't do it for sure, because it is costing them money to use our platform. We charge them for that. It's not, a free platform to use. So I think it could just be the case that either we're not getting that data, or two, the opportunities that are going on the platform are currently just not right for the people within our network. And that's why we need to grow our network. We need to grow that membership base. The bigger the number. So if we have, say, 5,000 members, for example, if you asked me that question, I'll be able to give you a tangible answer, because hopefully by then we'll be able to track numbers, and then hopefully by then the roles coming in from the partners, hopefully we'll be matching our members. We're on a journey. We'll get there.
Sure, sure. And surely, yes, I will check back with you on that surely in the months ahead to see that.
Sure.
So, going on with your experience, the where you are today, how you've built this organization, what's your view about the level of equality and inclusion in Scotland?
Sure. So I'll tell you this from a practical. I'll just say this before I go in. I'm not an EDI person, so I won't come here and tell you the theories and the technicalities of, equality, diversity, and inclusion. I'm not. I don't. And that's what we tell people, that BPS is not the organization. We are just trying to solve a problem. We're trying to get Black people opportunities. Full stop. We don't get into the theoretical side of it. So I need to put that out there first. So your question is, what do I think around diversity in Scotland?
Yeah, what's your view about
Yeah.
that inequality?
So it's interesting, because I tell people when I speak to them, like with organizations and people that are trying to do collaborate with us in one way, shape, or form. I tell them, listen, don't look at Black people in Scotland the way you look like at Black people in London. Different groups of people, just as we were discussing earlier, Olu. Black people in London, or generally in England, most of them are not first generation. Most of them have been here for ages. So most likely second, third, fourth, fifth generation. So I don't have this statistically, but based on what I see on the streets, most of the Black people in Scotland are first generation. Different people, different challenges, different problems. So I always tell people that. So with regards to the challenges we face, and is there equality and whatnot? Obviously, no, there's no equality. If there was equality, I won't be doing what I'm doing. Won't be having this conversation. I'll probably be watching Netflix now. There's no equality, and that's why I went through what I went through, because I shouldn't have to do that many applications. I had a degree in accounting. I had a master's in finance. I should be top of the crop if I was a white person, but obviously I'm not. I still have to go through what I went through to get what I got. So obviously there is discrimination. It's not in your face discrimination. The kind of discrimination, I think when you speak to Scottish people, they say, oh no, but I don't see anybody calling anybody names. And then they use example of, oh, but I know a black person that works in my team and is okay. He doesn't complain. He's having a good time. And even the guys I work with are telling me, but hey, you're doing well. You're getting paid well. Everything is going on for you. There's no discrimination. And, we hang with you. We do stuff with you. And I'm thinking, I think most of what we see in Scotland, or what I see, in my personal opinion, is folks see discrimination in a certain way. They see discrimination as name calling, or what discrimination was 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe. But discrimination has moved on from that. It's more, as one of the points you raised earlier, or the stuff sent to me, is more institutional. So I tell them, look around the office. Yeah, this is a very big office. Look around the office. Tell me, how many black faces can you see? How many Asian faces can you see? If you can answer that question and think through and think, is this right? Then there you go. Tell me if that is equality, or if you think Scotland is not diverse. If Scotland is that, what's the word? If there's equality in Scotland or not. The equality or the challenges we face in Scotland, first of all, getting into roles is quite challenging. And then second of all, the second is moving up the career ladder. That is even more challenging. Good luck when you get in. Well done. Right now, try climb up. I think that is more challenging, and that's where it's actually different to England. In England, especially London, you actually have more chances. If you go to London, I've worked in London, I've worked in Canary Wharf, and I've seen black senior managers, guys that sit at the highest at the high places, essentially. I don't see that in Scotland. And I think because in England, or I'll be specific, in London, they're more familiar with black people. So over the years, they've gotten used to black people going up the career ladder. In Scotland, I don't think that's something they're familiar with. So, in my professional years, 15 years, mostly working in Scotland, I've heard phrases that just makes me, that sort of solidifies my thought process and my assumption around this. So for example, I'm in a team, or I'm in an office, and then they bring in a black manager. Most likely they usually come from London. You never see them rise within Scotland. They usually boom, come from London. And then you hear people saying, oh, have you seen the new manager? He's actually black. It's like they're not expecting it to be black. They're not used to the idea of having a black manager. So as for you trying to climb up the career ladder in Scotland, it's almost, they look at you like, what do you want? Are you not contented? You've got a good job. We know how much we pay you okay. What more do you want? So this thing I'm telling you, they probably don't even know they're thinking that way. It's very deep subconscious. These people I'm talking about are nice people. They'll go for drinks with you. They will go for coffee with you. They'll come to your son's birthday, but they don't even know they're wired that way. So that is Scotland discrimination for you. It's not your face. You can't put your finger on it. You can't hold it and say, yeah, that's it. No, it's all sort of simmering in there. I'll give you another example. There's a guy in my team. He came from Scotland. From Canada, and within a month or two, boom, he's gotten a job, and he came into my team. And when he told me, I was like, oh wow, that's fantastic. I wish a Nigerian could come from Nigeria and get a job like that, because for him, he just saw that as normal. And I was like, that's not normal for people like me. They'll tell you don't have UK experience, but obviously you don't have UK experience, but that's not a problem because you're white. So, and this is something I've raised in many interviews and conversations I've had. This UK experience thing, because I'm like, no, it's not you don't have UK experience. You're not white. Full stop. Because if you're white, and if you're from South Africa and you're white, you're very different from a South African that is black, even though you're from the same country. And this is something I see in the workplace. You see senior managers from South Africa that are white, and they didn't have UK experience. They just came in from nowhere. So anyway, so he came in, and we worked together, and I left that company now, and I was catching up with one of my old colleagues, like, oh yeah, how is this person doing? And he said, oh, they've organized visa for him, so he's sorted. And I thought, that is mad. It's 2 years, because he just came to Scotland just to have fun, just to work a bit, travel a bit, work a bit. It wasn't too forced. And for this company, I'm sure what happened was he probably told them, right guys, my visa is up, I'm going back home. And they must have gone, oh, Do you want to stay back? We can speak to HR, and can maybe see. So it's those kind of discrimination. They won't have those kind of connections with a black person. Oh, your visa has finished. You're going back to Nigeria. Oh, no, 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 don't go back. Let's speak to HR. Let's see what happens. If you raise that topic with them, they would say, oh, sorry, that's not our policy to sponsor people and things like that. So it's those kind of low-key discrimination that mostly happens in the place of work in Scotland. And that's why you see black people not moving up. Because David has come in now. What you're going to see next is David is going to start moving up. If that was a black person that's come to Scotland as an accountant, qualified in this country, he won't be in the position David is in today. No. So that is, hopefully that answers your question around
Right.
equality in Scotland.
Yeah, you just touched on some of the experiences I myself I had when I first came here, and working well, you get all the awards, and then at the end of the day, you see someone who came in just 2 months ago, whom you were even part of who you were even a
You
trainer to,
trained him, yeah.
and the person has become a supervisor, and you are still there, and you're like, what's happening? And these are big companies. I don't want to be mentioning,
Mm,
but these
mm,
big companies. I've been so lucky. I work with big companies, but it's just surprising. And sometimes, during the Black Lives Matters, I saw so many things. When some people started posting, "Oh, we like the fact that this organization is copying the logo of the Black Lives Matters, but can you show us a picture of your board, of your senior management, and let's see if you
mm,
have blacks there."
mm,
Now,
mm.
this takes me to something else you mentioned there. So you said, yes, they attend, they go out with you, they attend even your children's birthday parties or things like that. So is it that this thing is conscious or subconscious or unconscious?
I think to an extent, it's probably subconscious. I mean, there are some racist people out there. Let's put it out there. There are some people that genuinely don't like black people. Yes. But I think, so this is me, again, based on experience and based on just being hopeful. They are in the minority. So majority of people are not like outright racist. They won't go, oh, I hate black people or I hate Asian people. No. Um, but they've just had a system built into them over years. You can't undo something that's been built over the years. I'll give you another example. And I went to drop my kid at nursery the other day. I was coming out. As I was coming out, this lady ran into me, literally. But thankfully my car wasn't scratched or damaged. I parked my car, came out, and I just thought, why did you run into me? You could have waited because you saw me driving past you and yet to run into me. And the next thing this lady did was she started doing this. Do you remember what happened with that Amy in America where she called the police on a black guy? That started happening right in front of me. She started shivering, she started shaking, she started saying, oh, there was a word she used. I feel threatened. Yeah, I feel threatened. I mean, I think I looked respectable. So, I mean, I'm not judging any kind of wear, but there are some wears that you wear that people feel threatened by you. No, I just wore slippers, shorts, and just maybe a t-shirt as I'm wearing now. So I didn't, and I didn't. I think I would say I have a respectable car. So hopefully that you think that should put me in a certain place mentally for people. But no, she still felt threatened. And she started shivering, started crying. And I just thought, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm not having this nonsense. And, so folks from the nursery came out and I just told them, I know what this lady is doing. It's annoying because I know I've seen this play out so many times. As a black guy, she feels threatened by me. I've not done anything to her. I've not even gone close to her. I've just told her, why did you hit my car? And she said, I feel threatened, and they said, oh, no, okay, it's fine. Go, because I still have my other kid in the car. So I said, my other kid is still in the car. What's happening? And they said, oh, yeah, go drop your other kid. I said, I'm definitely not leaving this place. If I leave this place and the police turns up, by the time this lady finishes explaining to them, the police are coming to arrest me straight for threatening and all that when nothing happened. And the funny part of the whole story was our husband, maybe boss band or boyfriend or partner, whatever, eventually turned up start threatening. So that was real threat. He started threatening, started pointing his finger in my face, saying he was going to smash me up, I was going to smash my car, he was going to do this. And I just thought, and then the ladies from the nursery they were just perplexed. They were just like, oh, I guess this guy didn't threaten your lady. And I think it's you guys, your family has got a problem. So those are kind of, challenges we face from the Scottish community. Is that, they feel threatened by us. I don't know why. In professional space, outside the professional space as well, and within the professional space, with regards to do they intentionally work against us? Sometimes it's just systems that are in place that makes. If you think of it, human nature. If you if you look into sociology and that side of things, people generally attract similar people. It's just how life is. It's unfair, but it is what it is. So naturally, if you're John, you want to work with Dave and Mark and Doogie and your guys. You don't want an Enoch coming to mess up that mix, because there are some jokes you guys can throw. Once Enoch comes in, you guys can't throw that joke anymore. Enoch messes up that mix. And these people are not bad people. They're not racist. They just like to hang around their own people so they can do their own things. Just the way, before they started fighting for women equality, it was a boys' club. Boys just wanted to do the whole thing. They wanted to be at the board so they can crack their feminist jokes, and not that they hate women, but they were in that with their guys. So I think that's where we are now. Like, people are just with their people, and they don't want someone coming in and messing that up. And that's why we are seeing the things we're seeing, where people are not getting promotion they want. Opportunity comes for promotion, and the person that makes the decision is giving it to the person he likes, rather than the person that is right for the job. They're like, oh yeah, I've known John for a while. I like John. He's a good guy. And you're like, yeah, but if you look at it on paper, John is not as good as Adewale or something. They're like, yeah, but John, everybody likes him. He gets on with people. Sometimes you need a manager that can get on with everyone. And straight, John gets the job because Adewale doesn't get on with everyone. So it's those subtle they won't tell you this. Nobody will have this kind of conversation with you, but these are the kind of conversations that happens, behind the doors. And they're like, we need to promote people that everybody likes. John, everybody likes John. John is the life of the party. He gets the jokes. He gets, Adewale doesn't get the jokes. So there you go.
And I to a very, very, very large extent, I agree with you, because I've seen that happen before. In fact, in the organization I work in, they call it the glass room. These are discussions for the glass room. And I have been opportune to be in that glass room before once.
Yeah.
And a senior manager who was supposed to say, oh, Olu is this, Olu is that, who has even signed awards for me, was saying in the presence of some senior guys in the organization that, if you're talking about Olu, I would rather be careful. And I didn't take that lightly, because I went back to him. I was like, what was the statement? Yeah, but today now, but one thing for me is that I always tell people, I just want to go into academics. I just want to complete things. But I don't know if you have observed this as well, because this is something I've observed, that many graduates from the Black community, especially in Scotland, do not get jobs that are commensurate to their qualifications here. The more of them get jobs down south rather than here. Have you?
Yep, that's true. So 2 reasons for that. One, a lot of them are actually from down south. So that's the phenomenon I don't understand. So we're getting a lot of English students, Black English students coming up to Scotland for uni, maybe just to get away from family, to get the Scottish experience, have a wild 3-4 years, and then go back home. So that's one. And then 2, I think there's just more opportunities in London for a Black person. That's just the reality. It's more open, not just London, but England generally. The big cities, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool. There's more opportunities for you as a Black person than in Scotland. And I'll say this again. Someone shared a statistic with me. He said 55% of people in financial services have parents in financial services. So think about that. So you're competing against people that have got parents in the space. I mean, these people will apply, these kids, they will apply like you, but they know people. So if you think that thing, that thing that happens in Nigeria, it happens here as well. It's just very subtle. It's not in your face. There are situations where we all apply for a job internally, but they already know they're gonna give it to John, but they still have to make you all apply as part of the process. But John already knows he's getting the job. So to go back to your point around how they don't get opportunities again, these black people, they're going to university, they're getting the top grades. So let's use I'm thinking of a Ghanaian name I can use.
Say,
Osei has done well, he's done economics, he's got 2-1. Amazing, Osei. Right. So then you've got Dave. Dave has got, while he was at uni, he's gotten work experience at JP Morgan for 2 weeks. That is more organized for him. He's gotten 1 month placement at PwC that is uncool organized for him. So by the time he finishes uni, he's coming out with 2-2, but he's got PwC, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley on his CV. And then when he gets in there as well, when they say, who is your motivation or who is your inspiration, he says, my parents, they work in financial services, they enjoy it, I love what they do. So straight away, no matter how good Osei is, Osei has to be really good to trump that guy. So those are some of the challenges, and that is part of in fact, that was the brainchild behind our internship program, is to say, by the time our people finish uni as well, or when they're finishing uni, they're coming out with those 3 months or those 6 weeks placements as well, so they can start leveling up with the white kids, because we don't have the human capital. We don't have I always refer to myself as an example, and I think if the people now are still facing those challenges, then we should be putting in the solutions for that. So they don't have the people to tap onto. So for example, the lady that got the internship with Social Investment Scotland, which was an amazing opportunity, is an investment company. She's from Ghana. No human, nobody to help her. She just came here to do a degree. She's finishing soon, and now she's got a placement. She's going to run that placement for 3 months. So by the time she comes out of uni, I think she said she's finishing in December. She's almost on equal footing with John and Dave. She's got 3 months banked with an investment company. So, as long as she can, present herself and talk the talk, she probably will never level up with Dave, but she's got, she stepped up a little compared to if she has no experience on her CV. The only experience she has is Tesco and care work while she was at uni. So I think those are the challenges some of them are facing. And there's also, I'll say this, is controversial. So as part of the internship program, I've been seeing a lot of CVs from people within our community. I think our community needs to do more around how they present themselves. And maybe this is something, again, BPS can do more on. So maybe I should challenge BPS and, and just wider community. So some of the CVs I'm seeing, I'm thinking, if you put this next to maybe a white person CV, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. So if you're submitting a CV with 8 pages, too much. You're submitting a CV for an internship position, and I'm not kidding you, you've got half a page of qualifications. This is not a joke. That was a CV I saw, and this is for an internship position. And you're saying, I've got certificate. So I'm thinking, why would they give you the internship? They'd rather give it to someone that is fresh because they think you're already polluted. You're coming with baggage. So I think that our people still need to, there's still some work to be done around how we present ourselves, the finessing, which I think the Scottish people, even though we Nigerians think we are good at packaging, I think Oyibo people, when they want to package, they package right. And that's something I've learned from them. And that's part of what's helping us at BPS, because we're packaging ourselves in a way that, we're almost matching them at their packaging game. So there could be more to be done. And again, maybe that's partly because we don't have those human capital. We don't have the uncle to help us look at our CV, the moms, normally, 19-year-old, 20-year-old Dave, before he sends the CV out, mom or dad will look at it like, oh yeah, let me look at that CV, right? Okay, change. In fact, I'll change it for you. Get it to the crispy point, sends it out. Of course, Dave is gonna knock Osei out of the park just looking at the CV, because Osei is not presenting himself well. He's just talking about things that are not relevant. I'm seeing some CVs where they're applying for roles within portfolio risk analyst, and they're talking about how great they are at project manager, as part project manager. I'm thinking, this is a portfolio risk analyst role. This is not a project manager role. And I'm not kidding you, the whole cover letter was how great they are at being project managers. So there's something there as well, which is, to answer your question, that's part of things that is, working against us because we're not presenting ourselves um, to the best. And that's part of what we're trying to support those that are applying as well. Those that are not getting through, we're not just saying, oh, sorry, you didn't get through. It's like, you know what? I'll sit with you. So this is costing us time as well as costing me time personally.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with people and I'm saying, let's go through your CV. Let's get your CV to the point where when you're applying for other roles, maybe through BPS or out there, you're in a stronger position.
Okay. Now, what you've just said there is something I'm going to, because with my experience
Mm-hmm.
as an HR person,
Mm-hmm.
academic, and some experience I've gathered also in recruitment and selection,
Sure.
is it not? Is it not? I will. Is it not? Can we say that the Scottish government then is not doing enough to encourage the ethnic minorities, to encourage those who are in the minority group, to help them corner that? And why I said this is because even
Mm.
when you look at the government white paper on equality, diversity, and inclusion, they talk about different schemes of things they want to do to help. But are we, because if you are doing that with your organization, then the question should be asked: is the Scottish government doing enough then to help your organization or to even help people?
Okay, so broadly, if you just look at it broadly, the Scottish government is doing something generally, not specifically, but they're doing something things generally. So like organizations like Skills Development Scotland, Inclusion Scotland. So there are lots of organizations like that that help people, get them ready for work, things like CV review. So it's funny you asked that question. I was speaking to Skills Development Scotland today, and that was part of what we're talking about because the problem is they've got amazing tools, they've got amazing people that can support people to get to work. But the problem is they're not reaching black folks, not just black folks, maybe Asian folks as well, but most likely, most especially black folks, they're not reaching them, and they don't know how to reach them. So black folks are there, trying to thinking, oh, I'm trying to get support. SDS is there, they're thinking, oh, we need to get black folks, but that so black folks don't know SDS exists. SDS doesn't know how to get to black folks. And that's something I've found when I speak to these organizations. These organizations that are out there to help, they're all thinking, we don't know how to find the black folks. So I don't have the answer to it. But one thing I can say is we, BPS, can start acting as a bridge, and that's what we've started. So, and that's why we're initiating conversations with organizations like SDS. So, for example, those people that said, their CVs are not up to scratch, I told them at SDS that, I could send some people to you. And they said, actually, no, we won't do it to you as a favor. That's our job. That's why we exist. We exist to get people ready. But unfortunately, we can't reach those people. So now that we are in contact with you, we can start looking for ways to to reach out to the community. And we're actually already planning an event that will just be built around SDS. So, the event will be SDS comes to almost spotlight themselves, tell the community, well, for those that attend events anyway, tell the community the things they do and how they can support them. And, maybe there's a bit of work we can do within our community as well. I'll give you an example. So the lady that I said got the opportunity with Social Investment Scotland, she said she has a group of about 30, 40 people in her church, black people in her church that would benefit from the opportunity as well. So when she told us, oh, great, tell them about the internship program. You all should throw your applications in, may the best man win. She said she told them, and not one of them applied because they said, what are the chances? And she applied and she actually got a role. So there's this, we have this mentality as well within the black community where we're not as open as we think we are. We don't have the also spirit as we think we have. When I heard that, I was quite disappointed because I thought, as much as I love doing this thing I'm doing, I sometimes I think, I wish someone was doing it when I needed it. But now that we're giving it out to people, I feel like maybe people are not taking advantage of it as much as they should. So when I heard that, I just thought, I don't tire.
What that just brought to my mind. I remembered when we were having that chat with
on radio. Yeah.
Adam, yeah, with Adams on radio, and I was telling you that day that I
I
think
remember. Yeah.
that we have to come out ourselves.
Mm.
And I know that day you were like, well, this is, but
So
it's yeah, you say
no, yeah. So Olu, see, because I'm BPS, there are some things I can't say in public.
sure.
So this thing I just said, I can't say it in public. I can't go out and trash black people. Never.
I
No matter
know.
how bad black people behave, I can never. So I can say it in this closed space to say, you know what, maybe there's more we can do. But you don't see me post on LinkedIn that black people, there's more we can do. No, because white people be like, see, I told you.
Yeah, no, it's, well, you know, I think I've just gotten to a point where I just say to everyone, say nobody is going to give you the fish. Nobody's going to give you that fish. You just have to go out and get the fish. And I think that's the point that we've gotten to now. So that would take me to the next question I'm going to ask. I know you've touched on some of it already, but would you describe Scotland as being institutionally racist?
If you want a yes or no answer, then it's yes. If you want me to elaborate further, I can
Yeah, I want
um,
to elaborate further whichever
elaborate.
answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are, you know, the country was built for white people, and processes and procedures in place are you know are in line with that. So you're an HR, so you're probably more familiar with these things. You know, when we're speaking to Police Scotland were telling us, oh yeah, you know, we'd like to have more. I've not seen a black police officer in Scotland ever. I mean, I think they said there are some in Glasgow. You know, you guys, you've got more criminals, but you know, Edinburgh is clean. We don't really have criminals. we don't, we don't have. So I've not seen any black police officers. So I was telling them, you know, they were saying they'd like to, you know, have more black police officers, more fronts, and public facing of employees, and also, you know, backroom, because ultimately we still need people in HR, in accounting, in, you know, supply management within Police Scotland. So, you know, we're having that question of, so why do they think and what's it called, they are not getting black people, you know? I just wanted to hear their view and whatnot. And they say, yeah, we don't know, you know, there's the, you know, the image is currently not good, you know, within the black community around, you know, police, and also what happened to that Sheku Bayo a few years ago, where it was, well, I don't know if it's official, but it was killed by police officers. So, you know, so obviously some black people would think by working with you, they're freaking traitors, so they won't touch you guys. You know, so there are things like that, and also the processes we've put in place. So, for example, your entry requirements, for example, does it work for the average black person? So, and that was when I was telling them, listen, if you want to ask me, I don't have these as a fact, because I won't show you any data to prove it. But most of the black people in Scotland are first generation, full stop. So if you have your rules of you must have lived in Scotland for this so years or whatnot, you're already ruling out most of them, so they won't apply.
Exactly.
You know, so that's where the institutional racism begins to come in. You know, you must be able to do this proficient level of English. This is not to say black people don't speak English, but some of them are refugees and they've now settled, but their English is not 100%. So once they see proficient English, they're like, I'm not doing it. I beg, I don't want any wahala. You know, so they're already ruling themselves out. Once they start seeing those, you must have this, you must have this. So maybe, you know, it's then we are now, I mean, they're now partners with us. So we're going to be working with them to try and start helping them to soften some of those things. That's just one of many problems. So this is not the end of like we're going to solve institutional racism in Police Scotland, but at least let's help them get black people in, because I want to see black officers. You know, I want to see more black people in the backroom office as part of the people making the decisions, because you know, if there are more diversity in there, then it's better for what's it called, for everyone. And taking it away from the professional side and from the career side, also the way the treatment, the way black people treat, I mean, you know, the way you know, companies and, for example, you know, police treats black people is different from the way they treat white people. I'll give you a quick story. I'll try and keep it to 1 minute. A few flats ago, a few accommodation ago, we had this neighbor downstairs. She was a neighbor from hell. You know, those programs they do, she will definitely be on that program and she'll be like top rated. She was horrible. She had this boyfriend and they just fight nonstop. I'm not kidding you. Like with axe and stuff. There was a day the guy came knocking on our door. He had an axe in his hand. It was a very violent relationship. And then they were affecting us with it as well. There were sometimes they were violent towards us, not physically, thankfully. I think because we're black and they probably just were scared of me. But they threw everything they could at us. But we kept calling the police. Police comes, we hear so much tussle and noise and pushing and shoving. So like 5 police officers going there. This girl literally fights them. And you know what they do? They just calm her down and put her to bed. And I'm like, I'm sure if that was Adama, Omo, Adama will go to jail.
Move the person.
So it's just different treatments like that. And you think that there's no equality in treatment. And but anyway, I think I'm going away from your question. So I'll stop there.
Okay, well, what you said, I think, yeah, you think that, well, I mean, something has underlined it already for us with the paper, the report released by the University of Glasgow back in February. Because I keep telling people, if University of Glasgow can come out and apologize, then I think all organizations, especially universities, should do the same what will I say? The same, they should carry out the same research within the organization and come out with it. Because I was not surprised by seeing it, but I was what actually surprised me was the fact that University of Glasgow were ready to come public and clean with that report. Because in some organizations they will have just covered it up.
Yeah.
And and what would you add your voice to a call that all institutions should do what the University of Glasgow have done? That carry out this research. Let's see exactly what your people are saying about this and make it public.
So absolutely, definitely something I champion. So being from my field as an accountant, I'm a data person. Data doesn't lie, and also because I'm an accountant, there is something where most of what we report is because we've been pushed to report it. So even if it's bad, we need to report it because we're told to report it. So two strands. So I think, yeah, organizations need to report. And the reason for reporting is it then helps to set a baseline of, okay, this is where we are bad. Let's try and get to, not so bad and then try and work towards good. So it's set to a baseline. So in case if you were thinking we don't have a problem here, once you see the data, you can then decide, you can actually say, based on this data, we generally don't have a problem here. Good, let's keep doing what we're doing. Or based on this data, we could do better, like Glasgow. And what Glasgow then did was they actually put things in place to say, this is where we want to get to, these are the things we're going to do. It's still work in progress, but at least they put themselves out there. And you know what? They didn't suffer for it. There was no negative backlash. In fact, there was positive backlash, which I don't get because I'm like, it's actually a positive thing. If you put yourself out there, people would think, oh, that company is cool. So one, and then two, I think the government should really just make it mandatory, full stop. I mean, if the government makes it mandatory, the way in my world, the regulators make it mandatory for us to report some data, even if it's not good for us, I think it's the beginning of change. If we don't know how bad it is, then we are all going to continue having this conversation of there's racism, there's discrimination, and they will say, oh no, there's not that much discrimination. See, Enoch works with me and Enoch is living well. Oh, see, Olu is balling. There's no discrimination. See, Tayo does a Jaguar. But if we put the data together and we say, okay, you know what, this is it, full stop. I mean, there's a lot of data that's been thrown out there which already shows there's discrimination. But I think organizations individually start taking account to say, okay, in our organization, this is where we are. This is what we can do. And that was part of the things that came through at the event we held back in May around, the post George Floyd event, where we brought some organizations together to sort of share what they've been doing, the challenges they've been facing post George Floyd around Black for Black diversity. And two organizations that stood out for me there were Pin St. Mason. So Pin St. Mason is the biggest legal recruiter or legal firm in Scotland. And they said they've done that data analysis and they've said, right, we're terrible. This is what we're going to do. So they've set targets. No, they didn't just set targets for ethnic diversity. They went further and set targets for Black diversity. I thought that was good. And he said, you know what, we may not achieve that target, but at least we're going to aim for it. And then another organization was RBS or NatWest Group. After Black Lives Matter and whatnot. So I know people within RBS that were actually part of what I'm about to share with you. So they drove. There was a clamor among some black people that had a bit of influence, like about NatWest should do something. So what they then did was, no, let's do a survey across the organization. Let's see how people are feeling, not just black people, everyone. And when the data come, it was shocking. When they started seeing data for everybody else and black people, and the CEO just said, right, we need to do something. So now they've set targets across RBS for different levels. Like, okay, we want this many black people at this level, this many black people, and not just that. So things like well-being and how you can fit in, the old EDI, softy, all those things, which I'm not very I'm strong on. They've put things in place to make sure, not to make sure, but to try and make RBS an equality employer, a good place, in a good, comfortable place to work as a black person, and a good place where you can feel I have a good chance of getting promoted and rising my career in this organization. They're on a journey, they've put themselves out there, and that can only be a good thing.
Okay. Well, I've just got a message there from it's an organization I know here in Scotland, or in Glasgow, the Nigerian Community Scotland, and they are saying that they would like to know if they can work with you on any of their projects in Glasgow.
Yeah, absolutely. Olu, you've got my. I don't know who these people are, but they should go on our website. They should drop us a message. That message somehow, they should put in the message that the message should get to Enoch, and that message will get to me. Alternatively, they can go on LinkedIn. My name is Enoch Adeyemi. Look for me on LinkedIn, drop me a message. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do. Definitely, we'd like to work with the black community, with the Nigerian community, and we'd like to support your people. Essentially, we want to get them into work, and not just work. We want to get them into respectable work. There's a lot of scheme out there where they're trying to get people into. This is not me talking down at any kind of work. So hopefully nobody takes offense at what I'm about to say. There are lots of schemes out there where they're trying to get people into Costa Coffee and IKEA and all this good. It's all good. It's amazing. But then why try to get an accounting graduate into Costa Coffee? That's terrible. What we are trying to do is get accounting graduates into accounting jobs, get the engineers into engineering jobs, respectable jobs for black people. That's what we're trying to do. So definitely get in touch with me. Let's see how we can support each other.
Okay. Well, Enoch, you wouldn't believe it. We've been talking for the past 57 minutes.
No, that felt like 3 minutes.
I know. But, one thing I would say is that, thank you so much for giving up your time and, for spilling it out. How will I say, organically, like in your word, as you always say, you always add that organical. It's organic. So, and I believe people who have listened at home, even from my production crew here, some of them were just nodding their heads to some things you're saying. And I know you've really shared a lot with a lot of people out there. And I want to just say a big thank you to you. And I hope in future when we call you back again, you have the time to come on again with us. I hope so.
Absolutely, Olu. And one parting line from me is, if you're listening, if you're in Scotland, indeed, if you're in the UK, so we're black professional Scotland, but we do support everyone in the UK as long as you're physically in the UK and you're black. Definitely go on our website, blackprofessionalsscotland.com, register. There's only good things for you. There's no negative, there's no downside to registering. Registration is free. It takes a minute. And from there, you start getting access to all the good stuff we have. So we've got internship, we've got mentorship, we've got events, very good events. Next month, or actually next week, we have an event around pension management, how to manage your pension, how to manage. These are areas for black people that we're not very strong on. Managing your money, the UK style, because I think some Nigerians still manage their money in the UK, Nigerian style. They don't want to get into debt. They don't want credit card. They don't want to, like, you never grow. These rich white people, they take debt, So we're trying to educate people to get rich, the UK style, or to manage their accounts or their financial affair better. So get on our website and hopefully I can't see you guys, but hopefully get more of you or get some of you as members on BPS. Thank you very much, Olu.
Okay, yeah, surely I'm sure you will get more people coming on to register there. On that note, everyone at home, thank you so much for joining us today, which is the the last Nigerian Pride show for the month of June. By next week, it will be the 1st of July. And we will be coming again with another wonderful guest for another wonderful topic. Until then, keep safe. For all the kids from moving from P7 to high school, wonderful congratulations to all of you. Wishing you the best as you move on in your academic pursuit. For those moving from high school to university or to tertiary institutions, also a wonderful congratulations to you all. And for the teachers, thank you so much for all you've been doing, for the great job you've done in these difficult times. And for all the politicians out there, the leaders, please continue to do your best, honestly and sincerely, to get us a better Scotland. I am Lion Olushokumbi. Until next week, goodbye.